All right, and welcome everyone to tonight's session. My name is Eric. I'm the VP of Admissions here at Neotech Academy. Thanks for joining in to our information session. We don't hold these very often. I mean, we have some months where we might just do a couple of these, and that's really about it. And so I'm always very excited about doing these because I'm not trying to be dramatic or anything, but it really is life-changing. And I think you guys will see that as we talk about this tonight. We also have a couple of graduates who have taken our boot camp, and I'm going to tell you what our boot camp is, and we're going to talk about what it entails and answer all your questions about tuition and you know, really we have a risk-free guarantee on this too. So I'm going to tell you how that works a little bit later as well. But as we get into all of this, I think, as I said a moment ago, I think you'll see that it really is life-changing. We have people from all backgrounds who have made a transition to the IT industry. I'm noticing in the past, probably, I don't know, maybe the past year, I would say, we're seeing a lot more medical professionals, like nurses, for example, teachers. I've seen quite a few truck drivers. It doesn't matter really what your background is, and we're going to talk a lot about that tonight. How companies only care about let me rephrase that. Companies primarily care about can you do the job that we're going to teach you to do in our 6 month boot camp, which is starting up on August the 10th. I would write that date down, August the 10th. That's going to be the start of our brand new boot camp. It's a 6 month accelerated course. You're going to learn more in 6 months than it would take many people years to do on the job. And so it doesn't matter what your background is. I don't care if you're a college graduate or not. I don't care if you've got a degree in, what, animal husbandry, or it doesn't matter, what your background is. Maybe you're a poli sci major or something like that. It doesn't matter what your background is. Companies care primarily about can you do the job. It doesn't matter what your age is. I've gotten this question quite often. If they make a transition to the IT industry, some people are in their 40s, they're in their 50s, they're in their 60s, and they ask this question, can I still do this? Well, I can't answer if you specifically can do this. I do know that, again, companies care about can you actually do the job, and we're going to train you to do that on actual projects. And so we're going to go into some detail in just a little bit about what this entails, what our boot camp entails, and what you'll actually be doing in this boot camp. Before we got officially started, I promised everyone I would go back to the chat here and I would read just real quickly some of the responses I got to my question. The question was, if you could describe your ideal job, what are some characteristics of that? And I'm seeing great work-life balance. I'm seeing income increase, flexibility, low stress, allows for comfortable living, work-life balance. I'm seeing that phrase quite a bit here, work-life balance, a job with unlimited potential, something that helps people and enables me to support my family. I like that a lot. Well, I like all these answers. Remote, low stress. So I'm gathering from, and there are a whole lot more, but I'm gathering from what some of you folks are saying, or a lot of you folks are saying is, maybe you're in a high stress environment right now and you're trying to get out of this high stress environment and get paid what you're worth. So we're going to talk about a true work-life balance. A lot of companies out there, and some of you probably know what I'm talking about. They advertise a work-life balance, or some industries advertise that, but it really is not a true work-life balance. It winds up being more work, with a little bit of life kind of sprinkled in. You know, a lot of you mentioned remote opportunities. Today there are more remote opportunities available in the IT industry than there's ever been in our history. So again, age, background doesn't matter. Um, People have asked this question also about language. What if English is not your first language? You should be able to communicate in English, but don't worry if your English is not perfect. I'll just put it that way. All right. Now, so why consider an IT career? Well, for many of the reasons I just mentioned to you a moment ago when you typed into the chat what you're looking for in your ideal job. Let's go back to when COVID started. It's hard to believe it's been over 5 years, since COVID started, the pandemic. But a lot of companies, some of you might have experienced this yourself. A lot of companies were shut down during COVID. You couldn't go into the office, you couldn't congregate. And there were a lot of people who lost their job. Some of them lost it just temporarily. Some of them had to completely revamp and, remarket themselves, reinvent themselves because their industry may have, been completely decimated because of COVID. And I'm saying that to contrast with the IT industry because in IT, there were already so many remote opportunities available as it was prior to COVID. COVID only increased those opportunities. And I think if, for lack of a better way of putting it, if the one silver lining to COVID is that it taught us a couple of things. It taught us that tomorrow is not a guarantee. By the way, how many of you would agree with that? That tomorrow is not a guarantee. And I think it also taught us that, you can't really rely on, corporations, the government. You've got to really have a skill set. This is key. You've got to have a skill set that can make you money, really, regardless of what's going on, as far as like a pandemic or something of that nature, or the economy turns down. And that's a big part of what we do is because when you learn a skill set, nobody can take it away from you. And that's awesome. So again, language doesn't matter, your background doesn't matter, education doesn't matter, your age doesn't matter. What matters is can you actually do the job, which we're going to teach you to do. There are a variety of career opportunities in the IT industry. We're going to talk about a few of those tonight. Um, the salaries. A lot of you are mentioning salaries. You want to get paid what you're worth. Well, check this out. A software tester, which is more of an entry level type of position. A lot of people start out as a software tester just to kind of get their foot in the door and to get that initial experience officially with the company in the IT industry. But notice this, a lot of the software testing jobs actually start out in that 90,000 a year area. Now, it depends on where you live, of course, but notice what it says here. No IT background required. You can work from home. It's remote in many cases. Now, some companies will. It depends on the company. Some companies might say, "Hey, we want you to come into the office," like a hybrid type role or something along those lines. But most of the positions nowadays, or many of them, as I've said, are going to be remote and they involve, working from home. Now, what exactly is a software tester? Let's talk about this for a second because this is really, I think, fascinating. A lot of companies need people just like you to test out their software before it's introduced to the public. You can probably imagine why. Because let's say I don't know, Uber. I use Uber every time I travel. So I look at the app and you know how it works, you just choose what kind of ride you want and hopefully the ride's there in a few minutes, right? And gets you to your destination safely. Well, if you're Uber, the people who founded the company, would you want to introduce this app to the public with a bunch of flaws? Or what we call, you probably heard this term before, bugs. It's a very common term. No, you wouldn't want to do that because imagine the bad reviews you would get. I mean, it would be devastating. Let's say every time somebody tried to use your app, the Uber app, it crashed, or maybe it was something really simple. Maybe the development team didn't use the proper color scheme, or maybe the fonts are off. Something. So here's what they do: companies will hire you to try out the software to act as the end user, the customer, to ensure there are no flaws, no bugs before the public starts using it. Okay. Now you might ask yourself a couple of questions here, or you might be asking a couple of questions. Well, how do I know what to check for? You'll be given a list of what are called requirements. Okay. So the requirements is like a checklist. You simply go through the checklist. Are the fonts correct? Is the color scheme correct? When I use it, does it work properly? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And another question you might be asking yourself is, well, do I have to fix the problem? The good news is no, you don't. Isn't that great? Because all you have to do is find out what the problem is after going through the checklist, and then you let the development team know, and then they wind up taking care of that. Okay, but software testers are in high demand. When we're done, I mean, don't do it now, so I don't want you to be distracted. But when we're done tonight, just go to a job board that you would normally go to. I mean, whether it's Indeed or maybe you go to LinkedIn or Glassdoor, whatever the case may be, and look for opportunities in your local area. Okay. But before I move on, just a quick little question here, guys. Just from a 30,000 foot view, so to speak, does that make sense as to what a software tester does? You're trying out the software, and I'm going to look over here to my chat on my other screen here. You're trying out the software before the public. Does that make sense? Get some acknowledgement there. Good, good. All right. All right. Well, we'll move on here. We got a lot to cover tonight, guys. So we have a career focused syllabus. We came up with this boot camp that teaches people from scratch on how to become competent in and have a career in IT. And as I said earlier, a lot of successful software testers are not actually college graduates, as that's not a requirement in many cases. Employers just want to know if you can do the job. So think of where you are right now. And I don't mean to offend anybody here, so don't take it the wrong way. But let's just say you don't really know anything about IT at all. So imagine not knowing anything right now, or just think about not knowing anything right now, and imagine where you could be, you know, 6 months after starting the boot camp. So think about where you are now and where you could be learning more, as I said at the outset, in 6 months. A lot of people will take years. You're really shortening that learning curve. You're going to be taught by people who are currently in the industry. The We have a market driven boot camp curriculum. So you're not going to be learning fluff or things that are antiquated. You're going to be learning what you need to know today. And as I said to you a moment ago, I'm going to bring on one of my colleagues here, Amet, and he's going to let you know. He's one of our lead trainers, and he's going to let you know more about what it is that we offer and so forth. He'll be on here in just a few minutes. He's also going to be interviewing a couple of our graduates, and you'll be able to ask them questions. They were just like you. They were in a, watching a webinar just like this and asking themselves, who are these guys all about? Can they really help me? The training is provided via Zoom. I get this question quite often. What if I've got a full-time job? Can I still do this? The answer is yes. People do that all the time. Be sure to ask our graduates if they were in that situation when they come on in just a little bit. We record all the sessions. You can watch the recording. We have homework. We have you'll be working in teams. So it's just like you're actually going to a regular school, a bricks and mortar operation, except you're doing it from the comfort of your home, just like you're doing right now. You're tuning into this, and that's how our curriculum works. That's how our boot camp works. We're very proud of this, guys. We from Course Report, which is very well respected in this industry, they actually rated us in 2023 as the best QA quality assurance testing boot camp, as well as in 2024, and then Career Karma best software testing boot camp for 2024. So again, if you haven't written this date down, we've got it on every single slide here. August the 10th, that's coming up here very soon. We have a 6 month accelerated course. You get hands-on experience on actual projects. We actually will help you with your CV, with your resume, to put the projects you'll be working on your resume. And trust me, we're going to go through all this with you in just a few minutes in detail. Amet will go through this with you in detail because he's also in charge of the placement. So we actually will do everything we can to help you land that first job. So we're doing everything we can. We don't leave any stone unturned. We want to see you be successful because the more successful you are, I mean, it does benefit us, in the long run because, we'll get more and more students that'll be signing up because you had so much success. So you start here with the 6 month accelerated course. You got software testing. That could lead into another career down the road. That could lead into what's called a software development engineer and test or quality assurance engineer, and various other careers, like an ETL tester, an API tester. Now, you might look at some of these and think to yourself, oh man, I don't know what any of that stuff means. What in the world is an API tester? What's a Scrum Master? What's an ETL tester? I always say, just like anything, when you learn something for the first time, yeah, it's going to be confusing. It's supposed to be confusing at first, if you think about it. When I took calculus in high school, my first semester, or really the first period, first 9 week period, I did not, I don't know, I was wondering, why am I even taking this course? But you know what? By the second semester, what I learned in the first part of the school year in calculus, I was like, you know what? I've got that down. Why? Because I've already done it a bunch of times. So the way we teach here at the Neotech Academy is We don't just give you a PowerPoint presentation and that's it. I call it, and it's studies have shown this is the best way to learn experiential training. So we go through the PowerPoint, yes, we explain how things work, but then we show you how to do it. And then we let you do it and let you know if you're doing it correctly. Because I don't know about you, but I have a tough time with certain things just being told what to do. I mean, or just watching a PowerPoint. I need you to show me what it is you're doing, then let me do it, and you let me know if I'm doing it correctly. And maybe some of you can relate to my, to the way that I learn. But you know what? A lot of people learn very similarly. You can retain the knowledge. You can grasp it a lot easier using the methodology that we use here. All right, so here's what I want to do. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I want to bring on Ahmet, and he is our lead instructor, and he is going to go through more, tell you a little bit about himself, and also go tell you a little bit more about Neotech Academy. He also is in charge of the placement, which I know a lot of you guys are going to be interested in, as well as interviewing a couple of our students. I'll then come back on. I'll go through the tuition, the money back guarantee, all that good stuff. All right, you want to take it away, Matt?
Thank you so much, Eric. Hello, everyone. So nice to see such a good crowd. I'm actually a little bit excited. Even though that we do this, time to time, it gets a little exciting again. My name is Ahmed. I'm one of the instructors here at Neotech Academy, and I happen to be a software tester with almost 9 years of experience. And today I'll talk about some high levels of what we teach, what you expect, and then we're going to invite some of our guest speakers. So hope you guys can see my screen. And whatever question you have, please put it in the chat and we'll go over it at the end of it too. But for the questions for the guest speakers, we'll ask for you to put it in the chat. Okay, so what are we going to cover in the 6 months program that we're going to be having? I will start off with the manual testing. Okay, so what is manual testing? Again, I don't mean to go into details, but essentially you need to learn how to test any softwares out there. Then you will learn a lot of good coding and programming so that you can combine that manual testing knowledge with the automation testing. So that is what brings the big dough, that brings the good money. And we will not only like focus on the front end of things, but we will also focus on the back end of things. And those who doesn't know what are the back end of any application consists of these factors, database and API. So we will also learn database and API testing. And throughout the program, you will have lots of information about soft skills, and that would include interview preparation. So you will be exposed to lots of interview questions, what type of questions you will be asked, how to answer them, what are the, ways of showcasing your ability to actually show them that you are eligible for this role. And obviously, the most important part, we will be going over the career placement. So we call it placement, and I'm in charge of it with a wonderful placement team that will be can helping you not 7/24 but 9 to 5 during the weekdays. And as well as that, as Eric mentioned, we will be helping you with to build your resume. So whatever you want to be, such as, if you are looking to get a job in US, perfectly. And if you want to be a digital nomad, I was seeing in the comments and was in the chat, this is perfect because we will still help you with your resume or CV, whatever needs to be done there. All right, so these are some of the tools. I'm just gonna briefly mention what they do. I mean, I'm not gonna get into details, but this might look a lot, right? Like so many tools, so many logos that you see, but at the end of this program, you will learn all of it, and you will be immediately recognizing them if you see anywhere. And like in the IT field, even in my office, I see people are using stickers of them, and you will be even like seeing the logos on the back of the laptops. But you will learn Java as a programming language, which is one of the most commonly used programming languages out there. You will learn uh, Jira, which is a project management. If you might be using this already, and I don't want to bore those who are actually already in the field and want to switch to software testing, but you will use Jenkins. We will teach you Selenium. That's the automation part. We will teach you TestNG, Cucumber, Postman, and actually so many other tools that we don't even have it here. Uh, this is how it looks, okay? So essentially, this is how we will learn. We will have live classes. Okay, so all of our classes are being held live. I want to emphasize this. Why? Because Again, we're not just giving you some recorded classes that you're going to be so bored out of. We're giving you live classes. However, they're being recorded, so you have no issues whatsoever if you miss them. You can always rewatch them. That's not a problem. But these are live classes that you can join live and ask questions live to the instructor, and there will be live teaching assistants that will help you with your issues if you have any. So that's how it's gonna go. You will have individual projects and group projects. What are those? Those are to give you hands-on experience to simulate an actual work environment. Okay, and obviously it also helps with the cross-team collaboration and some real-life scenarios when you get that dream job of yours. We will be giving you lots of good homeworks and tasks. And for those homeworks and tasks, we'll have office hours so that you don't have to worry about if you encounter any issues or you are having trouble solving them. You will have coding challenges. You will have a final assessment, which is a mock interview. So you will go through that interview in order to finish the program. And once you actually pass the mock interview, you will be released to the job market, and that's the placement part begins. What does that mean? We don't really finish the program unless you find a job. So that's our finish line. So our goal is always to make you find that job. And I'll explain how we're incentivizing that in a minute. Actually, Eric is going to be going over that. But essentially, this is how we design our program. You will have mentors, and this is really important. You will be exposed to seasoned software testers who are working in different fields, different domains, and they will be your mentor. So you will be assigned to a mentor. You will have weekly meetings, or you can just reach out to them to ask a question. And we just want to cover all the areas here. So that's how it's gonna be looking like. I can almost hear you asking about the price, but that will come a little bit later. We want to keep the suspense a little bit more. Before that, let's talk about the schedule, how we design the schedule, and how it's going to be fitting, hopefully, for your own schedule. So, this is how it looks like. Our classes are being held on weekdays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, from 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. These are all Eastern time, New York time. Okay. And for the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, we have 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So these are the live classes are being held. All of them are being recorded. Let's say that you have to work on Saturday, perfectly fine. You're not missing anything. You can watch the class later, or you can, you might not be available for any of these time frame, and you might be in the Pacific time. That's perfectly fine too. However, if you join the live classes, you will benefit from that too. But this is how it looks like, and we're starting when August 10th. Again, just like Eric mentioned, we mention it everywhere, like on the page here and there, but this is how it looks. Any questions you have, we'll come back. But now I want to invite our wonderful alumni to talk about their experience. So I'll be inviting Janer and Emra. Just a second. So guys, if you are seeing it, just click on the accept panelist type of thing. And as soon as you join, I'm gonna stop sharing and you can share your videos. Perfect. Welcome, welcome. All right, so Janer was the first one to join. I'm gonna start with him, and then we're gonna go with you, Emrah. Thank you so much for coming. So Janer, how are you? Why don't you introduce yourself to the
Good,
ones that are
how are
here?
you doing? Thanks for inviting me. My name is Caner. I've been in the software testing industry for last 3 years now and working in the insurance domain and working from home. Everything is smooth and nice. Life is good.
It's been 3 years, huh? That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
Flies by. I remember you're actually one of our old students, but I don't mean to call you old, but yeah, seasoned ones. Actually, you
exactly.
are about to be a mentor. Like it's good to know. We should knock on your door to be a mentor or something.
I'm ready, waiting for it.
Wonderful. And we have Emra. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Emrah. I'm also a recent graduate from Neotech Bootcamp. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, sorry. I should have asked that first probably. So I've been working in insurance domain as well. I think these days it's a popular domain for automation. Most likely it's because even though they are big companies, they were missing on automation part of it. So recently they started to hire more automation engineers in the domain. So I would highly recommend applying after you finish your boot camps in insurance or healthcare domains, which are very popular. I'm very happy in my work setting. I'm working in hybrid setting. I cannot say that I regret it because the days that I don't work from office, I kind of get bored. And I think my office space is better than the space that I have at home, like my work setting. So I can't say I complain about it. I'm the only automation engineer so far in the team. It's just been getting better and better. I started to receive recognition and rewards for the efforts that I've been uh, putting into the game, I guess.
That's excellent, excellent introduction. Thank you both. So let me start. Guys, for this goes for our attendees. Please put any questions you have in your mind in the chat section, and I'll forward them to our wonderful alumni here. In the meantime, since speaking of the office, hybrid, remote, so I want to ask to you, Jenner, are you working remotely or are you working, do you go to the office?
Yes, I'm at 100% remote.
Wonderful. And what about you, Emrah? You need to go to the office, right?
I go to office, but only 3 days a week, and 2 days I work from home. So like it's nice, I guess.
So it's a hybrid situation. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And you both mentioned that you guys are working in the insurance field. That's amazing. And as you said, Wimar, you pointed out something great. The domains can like can change, which one is popular now and like and so on. But we will help you with that. And like obviously, you are the living proof of that. So okay, let's see the questions. Oh, we have one question about this program. Did it teach you to become manual tester only, or did it teach you to become SDET, software development engineering test?
I would say like you need to understand that there is no automation without manual efforts first. You need to understand the process of what is being done, and then you can automate all around that. So they go hand to hand, but I would say like 95% of the time you will be doing everything automatically, like you're going to be building automation, and the 5% of the time at least to understand the process itself. Uh, I think they go hand to hand, like you can't separate them.
So, and for you, Jenna, are you working as an automation tester or more manual side of
Yeah,
it?
I'm working as automation tester as well, and full stack. We are doing backend and UI as well. Usually, we are working more backend automation.
That's wonderful. So we got a question about your salaries and but starting salary. So, Emrah, let's go from you. What was your starting salary?
Yeah, my starting salary was $95,000. But I do have, I mean, I don't want to get into too much details, but I do have a bonus for every year, and then I have a really good uh, benefits package, which exceeds like the 95K by far.
That's amazing. What about you, Jenna?
Mine was over six figures, and yeah, working as a contractor.
That's again, I have to remind everyone, these are the starting salaries, and this is what we expect. Thank you both. I see that we have the what is the best part of your job and the most challenging aspect.
Oh, I mean, the best part of it is that I love problem solving, and there's so many problems every day to solve. So it just keeps me busy, and like that way I keep on improving my skills. On the contrary of what Jenner is doing, mainly what I'm doing is UI automation because the APIs are not allowed to be shared because we're using a vendor company. It's a complicated story. But I'm doing fully like UI automation and it's just kind of like limits to what I have learned from the bootcamp, which is basically like being a full stack like Jenner. I'm able to automate APIs and databases, but my job only is requiring me to do UI. So
That's wonderful. Thank you, Emrah. What about you, Jenna? Best part and the most challenging aspect of your job?
Best part, I love being in the tech world, actually, the software world and in the programming world. It's really, added vision to my personality, to myself. I love it. That's the one of the best part. And well, I love what I'm doing as well. The team members, everyone, like compared to other and previous industries I've been involved, everyone is like, I think maybe smarter, cooler, So I like that a lot. And challenging is sometimes, when things are getting tricky in the sense of like timeline, etc., which happens in every industry. So it's not a big deal, and it doesn't happen all the time neither. Most of the time, things are smooth and nice.
That's amazing to hear. Okay, so we have a question from Kibibi about the hours that you work in a week. So, Emrah, how many hours do you put in?
Just 40.
40 hours regular,
Yeah.
so 8
Yeah.
hours a day. What about you, Jana?
Yeah, same, exactly.
Well, okay, so between software testers here, how many hours do we really put in? Like when you,
Uh, so in office, of course, I mean, like, to be honest, you're not even working like 8 hours a day because most of your time is going away with like meetings and, discussing what can be done and so on and so forth. So like the actual work, I would say like maybe half of that a day. But I wish it was more of coding than the meetings. Like I don't really
you don't like
just like to be, drawn into meetings all the time. I even like don't go to daily stand-ups anymore.
that's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I'm again, more you know in this field, it's like less hours that you need to put in, so you become more accustomed to stuff, and you're less surprised. That's the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. Oh, this is a great question. Thank you, Maya. Maya asked about, do many of the jobs that you apply to require a bachelor's degree? Or let me rephrase the question. Did you have any IT background whatsoever, and did you have a bachelor's degree that
I
requires it?
mean, I do have a bachelor's degree, but it's not related to IT at all. I am a philologist, basically a linguist. I speak English, Russian, and Turkish. So since I'm Turkish as well, it's my native language. But honestly, like it has nothing to do with IT unless you build a logic yourself saying that, okay, in when I speak in English, my main goal is to, transfer my ideas from one person to another, right? Like just to deliver the message. When you learn a programming language, like the logic is the same. You have a thought and you want to transfer that thought into a program so that it can understand. I think that helped me a lot, actually. Like when you look at it, didn't have much of a, intersection in that regard, but I didn't have any IT background before.
Thank you. What about you, Joner?
I had a bachelor's degree from Turkey. I was a food engineer. The people asked recruiters, but you don't have to have IT experience. I didn't have it neither, and I know people who didn't have bachelor's degree landed a job as well. So it really doesn't matter a lot as soon as you know what's going on and you are good with interviews, etc. That's all it matters.
That is so true. I can attest to that, and I can add this thing. What we teach you during the boot camp is what requires for you, what is required for you to get that job. And obviously, your interview skills plays a big role, and we will be giving you all of that. Okay, another great question. How long did it take from finishing the program from graduation to land the job? Emrah?
Um, I think it was like 2 months for me.
Okay.
And I started applying in a very bad time. If you remember, like it was in the holiday season, like November, I started applying to jobs in November 22nd, if I'm not wrong. And everybody was just going for vacations. But even then, I found it in like 2 months. So I don't think it's too bad.
That's wonderful. Yes, 2 months is definitely good. What about you, Jenner? How long did it take for you?
I got my first offer at the fifth week, and yeah, so I can say 5 weeks.
Oh my, come on, that's really, really good. Wonderful. So we asked about the hours. I'm just reading, skimming through the questions. This question, I will answer this at the end of it. Finding a job outside of the US and how it works and like what are the opportunities. But yeah, I'll talk about it. And we have a question that is asking about which states, regions are if our students are based. So let me ask, where are you guys joining from? Emrah, where are you joining from?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. What about you, Jenner?
California, Los Angeles.
Angeles, yes. So as you can see, like when it comes to US, 50 states, all the all over the states where are available and you can find a job since again, this is a nationwide opportunity. Okay. There is a question. Is it true that there is not as much hiring as before? What do you guys think about the job market right now? Emra?
I mean, I haven't been applying to jobs since I found it, but from what I hear from my friends who have graduated with me, it's not too bad. Like they still get interviews. But again, it's like you said, it kind of depends on how much you can market yourself too. Like I know your skills are important, but think about it this way. If two people are applying to the same job with same skills, but one of them is more, friendlier or, nicer as an employer, you would like to choose the nicer one or the one that who can express themselves, a little bit better, I think. So always keep that in mind. Try to understand the dynamics during the conversation. I think that will help a lot.
And what do you think, Jenna?
I mean, there was always this narrative as well while I was applying to like these days job market is not as good, etc. And I landed a job in 5 weeks. So there's always this narrative around, and I don't think so neither. I'm still getting phone calls, even though I'm not applying from recruiters that are still calling. So it can prove that there's still many jobs around.
That is so true. I mean, myself, I'm like discussing, I haven't been applying for the longest time, and my phone still rings, and a random recruiter calls and be like, "Hey, are you interested in this position?" And that happens. That definitely happens. Thank you both. Let me see. We have a question about what else can we do in this field besides software testing. So we talked about this briefly, but are you guys, let me rephrase the question. Are you guys planning to change direction within the field, within the IT field, or you just like it where you are now that you're accustomed to what the team does?
So, in my company, I just had like a presentation recently. So we have like a very structured layer of leadership. So once I presented what automation can do, they all wanted to like, spread it across the departments, like other departments as well. But I really like my team so much, like it's just became a little bit inconvenient for me to decide in which department I will be working next. But I would say like I would of course like to develop myself more in more technical field, I would say. Right now I'm currently working with an AI engineer. Like we just started to work together. So the main idea is that he'll build the Excel sheets, I'll automate it out. So that way like we work collaboratively. I think that also answers the question of the current students, like if the AI will replace you, no, you'll be working with it, I think. No, not like companies don't look at it, I think, that way because automation is the one that executes the job. But when they learn data-driven development, they'll understand the Excel sheet needs to be created, then needs to be automated. So execution part of it is us, which will guarantee their place, I guess.
That is so true. And what about you, Jenna? Are you thinking about, a different path, being a developer, Scrum Master, project manager?
No, I don't think so. I don't see any need for it. I like being automation engineer. Also and when you consider the pay, the time you are spending, the roles, responsibilities, everything, I think it satisfies me and it makes sense for me. So no, not for me.
Gotcha. And I take the liberty of answering this question. It's actually like we've seen some of our students moving into direction of being a developer. That is totally possible, right? Because you have the foundation. If you are more, again, if you're someone who has like the technical knowledge you want to know and you are kind of a, person who likes to create stuff, yeah, that's perfect for you. If you're like a easy talker, you like to talk to people and you are the perfect person in the middle of the technical team versus the business team, you can easily be a project manager, product owner. Those are also possible too. It all depends. And like most of our, I don't know what's the situation with you guys, but most of my management team are coming from QA background. So like people are actually being really like considered valuable when they're in the software testing. So they're like coming from the testing background and they are now director of the vice president of the company for the development team. But yeah, Perfect. Okay, we have Emrah. By the way, when did you graduate?
November, it was the time I graduated and I started right away.
24, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so you took 2 months. And Jenna, you were again, it's been like 3 years.
So like 3 years ago in September, I started a job. So like 5, 6 weeks before that, I graduated. So what it is like August, end of July, something like that.
Wonderful. And again, you briefly mentioned question about the AI, which is how safe do you think your jobs are when the AI usage is increasing?
I mean, like honestly, in the beginning, I was a little scared because I know AI just by using it like ChatGPT or other tools like that, but there are so much more tools that work as AI agents, so to say. Like you understand that they can create, let's say, documents or like text very easily, right? But then you have to build development around it so that intellectual property can be executed in a smart way, right? Like there's data-driven development. I mean, they will learn probably these things are too technical right now, but you basically create a process and you need to feed it with data. And that data can be created with AI and then fed into process. So they go hand to hand. Like AI can't do what I am doing right now with testing, at least in this capacity right now. The tools that are out there, like they can't do what I'm doing. Otherwise, they would not be paying me, I guess, $95,000 a year.
That's so true. And Jenna, how is your relationship with AI?
I love using AI in my personal life. I'm using it a lot, but I'm not worried that it's gonna take my job over. If I was developer, maybe I would be more worried. I think for developers it can be a little more tricky, but for testers, I think we are more in the safer side. That's how I'm seeing.
Actually, I couldn't agree more. As Emrah mentioned, both Jenna mentioned, AI is well, artificial intelligence helps us to automate the processes, right? And that's what we already been doing. And AI is a great tool for testers to make things faster, even more accurate. But again, I have to remind you this, guys, AI needs some validation, some tester, and again, who's gonna be that? There needs to be a human factor, no matter what happens. Okay, last question and I'm gonna say goodbye to you guys. We'll continue with the presentation. Is the why? So the question is, why should we prefer Neotech over other institutions? So why did you prefer Neotech?
I mean, for me, like it was very much of a fast decision because before Neotech, I was planning to like open a business and last minute it didn't work out. And I got really, really angry at myself for not being able to open the business. I'm like, I have to do something. And I signed up the next day to boot camp. I didn't do much uh, research on it. I just wanted to, do something and Neotech was there. And I really don't regret it because when I started working in this company and like with other interviews as well, I realized that everything I've learned throughout the bootcamp is extremely useful because you have to get to like practice it during the classes. It's something like this. You don't only learn in theory, you have to apply it as well. But during the classes, like all we were doing is learn and then apply, like until you literally get it into your head. And like even right now, I'm being told that like it has been the best decision that they made among all the other candidates, which was like about hundreds different candidates. And I'm guessing most of them were not like maybe not even graduated from bootcamp, but a college degree education we're talking about. I'm not saying I'm the smartest or I'm the best, but the education is a process. And if it's done right, I think everybody is going to be learning at least to a similar level. And me, Johnette, and other graduates, I think are like living proof of that because we didn't have IT background and we still able to find a job. And I mean, of course, it depends on who's living comfortably, right? To me, I think 95K is the beginning salary of what I desire in the future. But it's still like I want to say like thank God it's way better than what I had before. And I kind of want to say that I really appreciate you guys because you were able to teach me with someone without an IT background. I really like appreciate it. And whenever I'm called here, I will always come and share my thoughts because I feel that gratitude, you know.
Pleasure is ours. Thank you so much, Emrah. And Caner, why did you choose Noti Academy? Tell us.
I really agree that things Emrah mentioned. I'm very grateful as well. And why did I choose? It was word of mouth. I heard from my friend. I didn't do so deep research about it. I just went for it. And after I started and I graduated, and in the process, I had like the attention I was getting from the instructors, like how fast responses I was getting, like one by one with everyone, like taken care of. I felt very safe. I never, after I started, I never had second thought or doubt in my mind, like, should I change the bootcamp as sector, which, you are allowed in the first month. I think that was how it is. And so I was very happy about it. And that's why I sent, I think, two, three friends of mine after I graduated to the Neotech bootcamp, and they all loved it as well. So at the same time, my some other friends of mine choose other bootcamps. I'm not gonna lie, and I saw their, how they are working, their, structure and everything. And like I think Neotech is the best so far. Like everything, this how it's structured, how it's pay attention to the, students, and I think, yeah, I'm very grateful.
We are grateful and thank you so much. The both of you actually like spoke so many great words and I'm actually like, oh right now. Thank you guys.
Thank
So
you.
happy to see you. And for the more questions, I will answer them, but we have to say goodbye to you and continue with the presentation. Have a lovely night or evening wherever you are. And thank you again for joining.
Thank you and good luck, everyone. Bye.
Thanks. Thank you, everyone. See you.
Okay, so let me share my screen and talk about the job placement again. What defines our success is your job placement. Like as long as you are placed in a high-paying IT job, and I know maybe six figures might not be that high, so for some of you, but it's good enough, right? That's when we are satisfied. And again, for that, we will. I mentioned all of this, just wanted to put it out there once again, but we will teach you on everything. So we will build a resume that is tailor fit to your experience. And we will show you how to apply for jobs, when to apply, what are the tricks and tips. We will give you like a great amount of soft skills. Like whatever you have already, we will enhance it. We'll give you a great amount of market knowledge on how the system works, what are the best fields to apply for, how to, attract the most recruiters and everything. You will have access to, again, one-on-one mentoring. You will have access to wonderful alumni that we have. And we also will be helping you, which is my favorite part, with the salary negotiation to maximize the compensation that you're getting from any offer out there. So that's really, really important for us too. I know you cannot wait for to see the numbers. How much does this thing cost? Because it's amazing, right? Almost there. You can do the research yourself. Just do how much does the SStat make in a year? You will see roughly these numbers on a Glassdoor. But the real reflection would be our offer letters. So I want to quickly go over that. Then I'll give the microphone back to Eric. So I'm going to switch my screen. Hope you guys can see. This is one of the recent offers. We have 48 per hour. So that would add up to what, like 95, 96 annually. We have this 135 and plus a $20,000 bonus. This is a new one to June 4th. And this one, I guess, yes, in New York. So depending on the cost of living, the salary can be higher too. This one, $45. The reason that I had to black out because of the confidentiality problems, but you get the deal. This one, we have the bi-weekly of 4,000, so that would add up to what? $8,846.14, and a $2,000 bonus, so 8,000 and like almost 9,000 per month, which is definitely not bad at all. We have this guy, 112. We have many, many more. Oh, this one is actually pretty good too. So $80 per hour. That's actually, I think this is one of the highest ones. Like it adds up to what, over $160,000 annually. We have 82,000. Again, we have 106. These are from this year, and we have many, many more like this. This is how the job market looks like. So for you to understand it better. And this is my favorite part, and we are so proud to take the uh, best possible compensation out of these deals, and that's what we do. here are some of the companies. Again, these are big name companies. You might be getting an offer letter from them, or it might be smaller scale company. Regardless, there are plenty of jobs out there, and I cannot be humble about it because like we are really good at what we do, and we will be helping you with that too. So I'm gonna bring back Eric to continue with the rest of the presentation and the fun stuff. So please do not go anywhere.
All right, thanks, Ahmet. I'm just going to share my screen here. All right, there we go. So, does everybody see my screen where it says average cost of IT education? I just want to make sure because this is very important. Very good, thank you. Well, if you've been to college before, and don't get the wrong idea, I'm not saying you got to go to college to do what it is to do, this career. I'm just saying to compare IT education with a university, if you've got kids that are on their way to college, or maybe you've gone to college yourself, you know how expensive it is. I mean, the cost has just gotten insane. Granted, you can get a scholarship potentially, or a grant possibly, but look at this. The average cost, 36,000 plus dollars per year for a four-year university. And you've got private universities out there that are 50, 60, $70,000 a year. Now, granted, you can get some help with that, like I was saying, but still, I mean, there's a reason why there's so much student loan debt. I mean, there's like $1 trillion or so in student loan debt. It's pretty crazy. And so, but here's my point. The reason I'm mentioning this to you is because you could be in debt to the university for tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. And are they even obligated to help you find a job? They really aren't. How many of you know someone who was actually trained, so to speak? I shouldn't use the word trained, but how many of you know somebody who has a degree in a certain field, but they aren't even working in that field? I mean, I have family who I have a sister who's I don't think she's watching. She has a degree in psychology. She's never been a psychologist. So I have a relative who has a degree in physics, never ventured into that field. And then you look at the boot camps. Okay, so the average boot camp is well over $13,000. And then you see Neotech Academy down here. Okay, so here's what we've done. Let me get to it. What we've done is we've created a program that makes getting involved in getting educated, getting this skill set to get into the IT industry, we've figured out a way to make it accessible to almost anybody. So let me walk through this step by step. All right. So here's how this is going to work. We have our regular tuition, which is at 52.49. We then have what we call our early bird discount. That's $200 off, and then another $100 off just for you guys who are attending our webinar tonight. And so what that does is it brings the tuition down to 49.49. However, that's not due up front. That is 7 monthly installments of 707. So 707 per month, 7 months. And then here's the other part of this. The reason our tuition is so low and accessible for most people is that we offer a risk-free placement fee. Now, a lot of people get confused by this, so let me run through it, and we'll probably run through it a second time just to make sure you get this. So the way this works is you have the low tuition. It's not due up front. I'll let you know when it's due. It's a money back guarantee also, guys, so hold on. But the placement fee, here's how that works. It's 85% of your first month's salary after you land a job, and we help you find that first job. We'll do everything we can to help you land that first job. So you don't pay this if you can't find a job. And that is paid in 4 monthly installments. So let me make sure you're clear. It's not let's say you get a job and you're like one of the guys that was here earlier at Emra. And so you're making whatever, $90,000. You're not It's not 85% of that, it's 85% of your first month's salary. Okay. You don't pay this if you can't find a job, and that's in 4 monthly installments. So we're doing everything we can to help you get involved. So rather than being on opposite sides of the table, we're now on the same side of the table because we're incentivized. We're doing everything we can to help you land that first job. And the incentive is to your benefit. But we bring that tuition even lower. We bring it down even more if you're referred by a Neotech student or alumni. Just let us know when you reach out to us. If you're signing up with a group of two, which we encourage, each student gets an extra $150 off. If you sign up in groups of three, each student gets another $200 off. Groups of four, reach out to us and we'll see what we can work out for you. But again, we encourage you to sign up in groups because you can encourage each other, you can motivate each other, you can help do homework together, and then you also can start to create your own um, networking group down the road. Now, what if I change my mind later? This is a big question people have. Well, there's no deposit, there's no application fee. You don't pay anything until the boot camp actually kicks off. You start paying when the classes begin, not before. You cancel for free anytime until the boot camp starts. There's a 30-day money back guarantee in writing, 100% refund if you decide to leave until you complete your first month. So, guys, we're taking all the risk here. And really, what we've done is we've addressed all of the concerns that somebody might have before getting involved. What about the tuition? Oh, the average tuition is $13,000. Well, we make it very easy for you because we have a much smaller amount, and then we help you land your first job, and it's just a portion of your first month's salary. So we're doing everything we can to get you involved and really change your life. I mean, think about it. I was motivated by listening to the guys talk earlier about how great they're doing, and not even having this type of background, but getting trained by us, and now they're living the life of their dreams. So learn more about the boot camp, you go to neotechacademy.com/bootcamp. If you want to book a call with our admissions team, go to neotech.live/call. If you're not ready to call, simply submit your interest to neotechacademy.com/apply. But guys, we don't have, seats are limited. The discounts that we're offering you, they're not going to last forever. There is some prep work that we'll have you do before the boot camp actually begins. So you don't want to procrastinate. It's human nature to say, well, I'll get to it later. I have a friend who I've told this story before. He bought this book. He bought War and Peace. He went to some sale, and it was like an estate sale or something like that. And it was like a really, really good looking book, I mean, not just the words themselves, but just how it was embossed and so forth. He was like, wow, this is awesome. And I used to follow up with him. It became a running joke. So what chapter are you on in War and Peace? He would say, well, I'm almost on chapter 2. This was like 2 years into it. So it's human nature to procrastinate, guys. Don't do that. Think about where you are now and imagine where you could be after the boot camp is completed. Email us for any questions, team@neotechacademy.com. Again, schedule a phone call at neotech.live/call, or simply call us directly, 929-566-3919. So let's go through this real quickly before we get to our questions here in a moment. Some final questions. Let's just do a comparison between getting involved with us, like the folks you heard earlier, compared to, just trying to learn it on your own. Or maybe spending 4 years in school and spending a ton of money, or taking online courses. Well, if you're self-taught, that's where the procrastination comes into play. How long is it going to take you to do it? Who knows? By the time you teach yourself how to do this, because you're now saying that you're the expert. By the time you finally, teach yourself how to do a few things, the technology the market could have shifted. Everything that we do the learning content here is market driven. So we're not teaching you fluff. We're teaching you what you need to know today to succeed in this industry. So time element, self-taught, who knows? With us, it's definitive. It's 6 months, learning more in 6 months, and it would take people on the job many years. University, 4 years or more. Online courses are self-paced. Again, self-taught. With us, it's hands-on, live with real teachers. You're being taught by someone who's very skilled and knowledgeable, like a Met, for example. University, not very interactive. I think you probably know this if you've been to university. Online courses are unsupervised. Again, you're saying that you are the expert if you're self-taught. Here you have actual experts, people that are in the industry actually doing it. University, you may or may not be taught by someone who knows what they're doing. I took business courses years ago, and I remember I don't think I had a single business professor who actually went out there and started a business. They understood things in theory, but not really in a practical sense. Career services with us is extensive, individualized, doesn't really exist in the other choices, and maybe to an extent, university wise. The learning community, we have a large learning community, one on one mentorship, and our tech support is nearly 24/7. So, what I want to do now is bring back Amet, and we're going to take some final questions that you guys might have. So if you have any final questions, go ahead and type those into the chat, and we'll go ahead and we will get to those.
Thank you so much, Eric. So I'm gonna do a fast round, and I know you have a lot of questions. That's amazing. But unless we don't have time for it, these are the contact information. So let's start. We had a question about how many hours should we put outside of the classes. I would say, depending on how fast you learn, the 8 to 10 hours. And again, this is all depends on how fast you learn. I'm gonna go down to question about how we support our students after they finish the bootcamp and they haven't landed a job yet. Our support is indefinite. Like even after you find a job, we still support you. If you want to change the job, we'll be there for you. So that placement fee, that covers everything. That's like the whole package. We're not just there for the happy day. We're always there for you, even if you want to change the job. We have a question about the 85% of the first month salary. So thank you so much for bringing this up. 707 per month is being paid throughout the program. And the discounts that you have, again, you have to talk with the admission because I'm not going to be revealing that if you have any influencer, any person that you know. But the placement fee only occurs after you find a job. And it's a one-time fee that is also put in the installments. So let's say that if you get your first salary, like close to $8,000, that's going to be $2,000 per month. But again, when you get that first salary, I haven't seen anyone having an issue with the payments. Like they are actually so happy to pay, and I'm sure you would be the same way because again, at the end of the day, what we give you is a really high quality education. What happens after the 30 days? With any details, like, if let's say that, I mean, God forbid you get sick, somebody gets sick, you have to move. Those are all mentioned in our enrollment agreement. So those are covered. We will do our best to help you. So, but for more information, the correct channel is the admission team. So I think I repeat the 85% part. You see that? Oh, great question about the Canada students. So for the Canadian students, we have a lot of students from Canada too. And the reason that we opened this program for US and Canada because it's almost the same. Like the placement support is the same, the program is the same, the same language. I mean, sorry, we don't really speak French, but I'm sure you can, find your way with English. And the what is different is the price. So whatever you see as here as the US dollar is turning into Canadian dollar. So that's what's the difference. So that's what you need to pay. And the salaries is again, according to that, you can do your own search too. But that's how looks. That's how it looks. For more information, for the pricing, for the groups and everything, the correct way of communicating is Teams. So Eric, if you can switch back to our contact us page. Thank you so much. Do we so let me see. Yep, that's almost about it. How do we find Canadians the jobs in USA? If you have a work authorization, just like the other USA students, we can just find you a job. But in Canada, there are plenty of jobs available as well. This is how it looks overall. For any other questions, these are the Connect channel. One thing that I can tell you is, again, this is a risk-free program. So you come, join, see for yourself, and 30 days is a plenty of time to decide if you like something, if it's good for you. But one thing that I can assure you, the deals are not going to last. We have limited space. So what I would suggest for you to just sign in, see for yourself. If you don't like it, drop it. At least you would get to know us and we would get to know you. That's about it. unless if you have any other important questions. But if you do, and if I missed anything, I'm sorry. But thank you so much for joining. This was an amazing crowd, and thank you, Eric. So I'm just gonna say goodbye to you.
Hey, congratulations, guys. Take care.